Okay, so just a little video. Still working on the pond, okay? So anyway, this I'm taking and I'm scraping off the paint. You can see, right? Just getting it ready. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with these ones, right? Give everything a quick spray. And then I'm painting and I'm putting it together, okay? Back in this corner with what I have to help hold these plants when they come up. That's what I'm working on right now, okay? You can see how nice those are. So anyway, my neighbors must be chuckling to themselves. Seriously, this thing, these two here was one piece. I'm telling you, it sat in my yard for like 4 years. Okay, and then I put it up last year. I cut it in half, wobbly and all, just to temporarily, you know. And now you can see what I'm doing, getting ready to paint, right? Nothing fancy. This is like, God, these people had this stuff in their yard for who knows how many years. And then they put it on the road curb there, and I grabbed it, and it sat in my yard for like 4 years, maybe 5 years, maybe even 6 years, who knows. And then they just, right, they had me in mind when they put these out on the road. So anyway, I'm going to wash them now. They got a few nails in them, just showing you. Right here, see? So I'm going to take all the nails out and wash them, get them ready. And then hopefully by today, we'll be able to paint them. Andre can help me. And then I can piece it up, right? Whatever there. And then of course, Andre and I, we found some extra wood when we were coming home one day from the grocery store. So I brought that home. You can see, wood is expensive, people. So I've got wood here to make that really strong by the time I'm done. Hold on. Hey. I'm so tired. But the weather's really nice right now. So now that I've washed these, basically, it's got these little nails. I don't know what kind of nails they are, but they got something sticking out. They're not really nails. I think they were like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to bust them off or cut them off. And then paint. I don't know if I'm... Oh, yeah, I'm strong enough. Only thing is I don't know if I want these things all over the place. See? Take them off. So when I get everything all done, then I'll bring Amari out. I'll just finish feeding him. I'm making these little meals for him, and I'm taking pictures, right? Always thinking about Amari's cookbook. Those little side dishes, right? I don't know, people. I'm too tired. I've been going pretty steady for the last, well, every day. It's not even the last. It's like every day. And now with summer here, the sun, I'm in the sun too, right? And I'm not used to it because I've been hibernating inside all winter long. I want to include in this video, okay, making walnut stain, because, you know, as I'm going through shit, right, I'm just using up stuff, old paint, right? Came across a couple of jars of old walnut stain that I made 2-3 years ago, whenever it was. And I'm telling you, people, boy, oh boy, does it ever work good. Oh, I'm going to show you. Like, I think the longer it sits in the jar, the darker and the richer it becomes, and the stain is, like, amazing. So I have to make some more, right? Because, you know, why buy if you can make your own, right? And as I'm going through my, what do you call it? Miscellaneous paint cans kicking around, I'm finding wood sealers, right? That, you know, like varnishes and those kind of things, right? So as I'm staining with my walnut stain, right, I'm also shellacking it to preserve it, right? And boy, oh boy, is it ever nice. Like, so nice. So I don't really got much to say because I'm working hard, I'm working fast. I'm working hard and I'm working fast. You know, sometimes doing this makes me nervous because we know that I'm being stalked, right? Too easy for people to creep my yard at night. Throw their dog bone into my yard so their dog runs into my yard so they have an excuse if somebody say, hey, what are you doing in that yard at 3:30, 4, 5, 6 in the morning? I try not to think about it, but it was either live here knowing that shit was going on and at least have neighbors keeping an eye on things versus living out in the bush with my goat. With somebody lurking in the fucking bushes, right? Out in farm country, right? Simply because, right? People are so sick these days, having multiple user accounts and talking to themselves and answering themselves, people, with multiple fake user accounts. No names mentioned. Like, who does that? You'd think, after all this time, that shit would stop. But it doesn't, right? So anyway, you're probably wondering what the government's been doing with that notice of civil claim that I served them. Well, honestly, I can't tell you because they haven't contacted me yet. And then, of course, I'm thinking, oh, those little buggers, they're just going to ignore me, all right? Have me take it back to court, go in front of a judge. I'll be like, okay, Mr. Judge, you need to make a, you know, what is that called? A judgment. And the dude will turn around and he'll either send me to the cops, right? Do like the last time I was in court and send me to the cops, right? Or he'll try and throw it out of fucking court. That's how the government will get out of it. And I'm like, nah, don't think like that. That's very irresponsible on a government's point, just to ignore it, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I have some screws in here that I have to take out. So I don't know, people. I just figure, well, if that happens like that for whatever reason, I'll just file another one and I'll take the petition out to the streets. And I'll fucking stand out in the streets and I'll get people more involved that way, right? I'll expose the corruption within, you know, our public union sector and how they treat the public, right? In terms of, even when you try and stand up for yourself and fight for your family and fight for justice, you know, they have their own fucking agendas, right? Seriously. All right. I don't know how they can call themselves a public union sector. I really don't. I think initially, back in the day, you know, in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I think it was a lot more genuine, you know, right? In terms of wholesome and having ethics and that kind of stuff. But it's like Uncle John said, you know, it got to the point where if you're in union within the government, there's a lot of crappy workers that take advantage of their positions. They don't do their fucking jobs. They know they can't get fired because they're you know, the union, they're within the union, so they're not going to get fired. And then other people have to pick up the slack, right, for the ones that don't do their jobs, even though they're on the, you know, government dole with their union pensions and paychecks and all this other shit. And I think the more people realize they could do that and filter in gang activity and criminal activity at the expense of taxpayers and people's lives, real people's lives, you know, young people's lives, children's lives, old people's lives. I don't think it's like it used to be in terms of a public union sector. They're not public. Not really. That's just a term that they use, right? So anyway, I'm trying not to worry about it. So I'm going to have to hammer these down a little bit because I'm not completely cutting them off. Right? Just want you to see what I'm doing. I'm happy to have these old fence boards. They work for me, you know, just a little time to spruce them up a little bit. They're going to look really, really nice. And they're going to hold up those plants really, really good. And I have enough to do something to make it secure. Right? So, I mean, what more can you ask for? Right? I'm just right now getting them ready to paint. Right? So, which will be in the next hour or two. And let them dry, and then I'll piece it all together, and then you're going to see how nice it is. And then I can move on to the next project. I'm going to have to take a hammer to them. Alright, because they're kind of sticking out. Okay, but I'm so tired. Amari's getting heavy. Oh, but he's such a happy little baby, people. And he's smart. And he's a thinker. He's a thinker like his mom. Yeah, definitely a thinker. Right, so we love him. We're happy to have him. We miss Auntie ShaMay though. Oh, look at those little flowers. You see? Oh, these such nice little flowers, eh? I have flowers I need to plant. I'm so busy with other things though. See? Already starting to look better. So I took out all the screws, all those little nails, whatever, hammered them flush after right, so that if somebody comes, grabs, you don't cut your skin. This is what I wanted to show you. Look how nice. Look how nice and rich that is. That's from when Andre and I picked all those walnuts, people, and I husked them, and I've got the walnut powder. I got a lot of it, people. I just haven't put it online yet. But look how nice that is. So then you come with a wood preservative, right? A little shellac on top. And you're good to go. Like, you're so good to go. And then if you noticed, I came out here. Do you see this wood stump? I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, right? And so I came with my last little bit in my jar. And look how it changed the color. So I'm going to make another batch, and I'll do a few more, right? Just to, you know, spruce it up a little bit, right? This is where I'm going to put this little white fence right up in here, where make it really nice. And then, of course, you know, right? Yeah. That's the little part. Okay. So I don't really have much to say here. I'm just working fast. That's all I've been doing for the last 3 days, 4 days. Just working as fast as I can to, you know, use up this stuff in the yard, right? Old paint. I've had this paint, I don't know, for years and years and years. I don't know, maybe I bought it on sale at some point in the past. This is outside paint, right? I don't know. I remember one time when we were working in that basement for 3 years, one of those guys, he came with a bunch of paint that he got for free because of some recycling center or something like that, some paint recycling center. So maybe it came from there. Either or, I probably have had this paint around the house for the last 5 to 7 years. Anyway, it's holding up okay. I had to stir it. It was all gummy there for a minute. but it's good now. It's working. So I'm doing the one coat today, and then I'm going to try and do the second coat tomorrow. And then I'm going to try and piece it together, reinforce it. I'll have to paint those boards, right? Whatever I use to reinforce this. Right? And then put it back in that corner. And then try and maybe figure out a way to just get a little more height on this. Right? Because these things get high and then they tip over. Which kind of looks cool, but... That's all I'm doing. Traffic is going back and forth. A lot of people working out here, right? I get these big ass trucks, 3 in a row, sometimes 4. They're either cementing, grinding that shit, or they're carrying like dump trucks full of rocks or grit or whatever, right? It's been going on for almost 2 years now, people, and I swear the foundation in my house is starting to shift. Yeah, I'm thinking so. Because I got it front and back. Right? I don't get it just from one end because they're building over here and they're building over there. Right? Which is like, you know, putting a lot of stress on the road. Plus they dug up the alley to run piping for that building over there. So the whole alley was all dug up last year, completely, you know, dug up, full of trenches, ripped out whatever they had there, and then reinstalled new pipes. And then they've got these trucks going 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. These big ass fucking trucks back and forth through my fucking alley. Okay? Right? It's shifting the foundation. It's moving. I can feel it. So I don't know. But anyway, as I'm sitting here, all these guys, they with their cars, right, and their trucks, working and stuff, and I'm just waiting for the government to show up and serve me. They have people come and they serve you, right? Those kind of things, right? I mean, you would think they would, people, right? And it would be very irresponsible of them to ignore it, that's for sure. Don't you think? Could you imagine if they ignored it? Acted like it didn't fucking exist? Well, that's kind of how they treat my family. All in all, over the years, right? I've not received nothing, no information about what's going on with Ciera. Right? Cops never told me what they fucking figured out. Right? Coroner never sent me anything in the mail, people. Like, what the fuck, eh? Right? I go to get her medical files from the stupid clinic, and the clinic telling me to go take them to court. Like, what kind of bullshit is this? Right? The government can go get her fucking medical files, and they can give me a copy. Right? Once they see her medical files, they'll be like, holy shit. No wonder why she's mad. Right? If it was their daughter, they'd be mad too. After this, I got a few more boards left. I got a few more boards left and paint. And I'm going to go inside for a few minutes. And then I'm going to, what do you call it? Now I'm getting paint. If it's not sand, water, grit, mud, now it's paint. Right? You can see. And then go get a Mari. Come outside. And then keep it simple even though I'm tired. Probably get up in here. Looks like I've killed off some of my plants. They can't get through. Level out some of this dirt. Because when I was digging out the pond, I just threw it in here, right? I don't know. I have no place for it, right? I'm not digging today, people. Not today. I'm late in planting. But the thing is, we're in April. We could still have a cold snap. It's really hot right now, but we could really have a cold snap at the end of April and the first part of May. It would kill everything that I'd plant in terms of like squash and all this shit. But as you can see, I haven't done anything. Alright. My goal is to kind of, like I said, get these bricks out of the way, get the pond in. Right, I'm not too worried about planting things right now as I am getting this stuff done. Okay, so it is April 17th, 2021. I don't know, people. I have to do this, okay? Obviously, I'm listening to something here. I'll show you. Okay, this is done by City News Toronto. Alright, so it's a major news outlet, right? Mainstream. And they're going on about introducing more restrictions. Okay? And of course, they're flashing their crises in front of our eyes. Okay? Now, we know I've done videos on ShaMay, right? Because she was illegally embalmed in a hospital setting, people. Bottom line. Okay? And I can pretty much prove that. Right? Assuming that my government gives me a chance to do that. So in the meantime, whenever I see, well, not so much lately, but being that I'm like getting close to going to court one way or another, right, for whatever reason, you know, I'm looking at these ventilators because I want, you know, I want to see, you know, I've got other images of ventilators in comparison to the ventilator that they had on ShaMay on the 19th, which was not a ventilator. Okay. So, I'm still doing that kind of comparison in my head. Right? And then I'm thinking, okay. So I'm looking around. Right? I'm looking around. And I'm looking at this, people. Like, okay, like through paint. Now I'm going to take this to exposure. I'm going to show you some things. Only because this is important. Right? Because hospitals aren't necessarily what they say they are. Now, you've got this individual, supposedly, okay, laying this way. Right? But for whatever reason, I don't know what this is. Because if this is this individual's head flipped over on an angle where it looks like it's broken, with the rest of the body going down this way, okay? You have to ask yourself, what is that? Right? And like, I'm not no doctor or anything like that. I'm only going based on what I know from what I've done with ShaMay's pictures. And the first thing I can tell you is it's going to be interesting to see what we get coming in through these tubes in terms of exposure. Because they're all over the place, people. Okay? Like, literally, they are like all over the place. Right? But this face doesn't add up. Are these lips? Because if you look at this here, right? This probably has something to do with their ventilators or their oxygen, whatever they got. Right? These are little connectors that they have. ShaMay had those too when they had her hooked up. So you're thinking, I don't know, like, see, there's a tube right there, right? So is this going into the mouth? Because this right here, to me, looks like lips. What else does that look like to you people? I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure what this is. I don't think that's an eye, because if you look here, there's the image of the hair, right? Clearly that's hair, or it's supposed to signify hair, right? And then you can see there's a little more hair, maybe, right in there. So this would be like the forehead, eye, nose, mouth, upside down. Like, it's not computing with me. And then on this side, it looks like alligator skin. It's all, if this was a dead person, let's just put it that way. If this was a dead person, this would be water blisters. Okay? That's what happens after a while when they're sitting up on these beds dead, hooked up to machines. Okay? Because the body begins to decompose, right? That's what was happening with ShaMay's body. Because that in itself is completely unnormal. And this isn't, let's bring this up one more time. This isn't, problems with the definition, with the resolution, the pixels. Has nothing to do with the pixels, people. Because if it was, I'm going to show you why. It has nothing to do with the pixels. Okay, because it's too defined. If it had something to do with the pixels, you'd see that same pattern in here, and you don't. This, when I look at this, people, now this is, it's almost like a 3D image. I'm looking for my mouse. It looks almost to me like a 3D image, because this here is on the outside, right? It's the first, it's the top layer of the imaging, right? And just by the very nature of it, it looks like, I don't know, this looks like a screen. It doesn't look like, natural. I guess you could say. Like, none of this looks natural. Right? And again, if this was a problem with the pixels or the resolution, you'd get this same pattern coming up and through here, and you're not. You're getting really fine, defined, right? You can see how clear that is, right? But yet this is it's illuminated. It seems to kind of glow at you, right? You know, right? That's how I see it. It doesn't look normal, right? None of this picture in itself doesn't look normal. So with that said, I think I'm going to do a video on this to highlight on what they did to ShaMay's body. And they could very well, quite possibly, be doing it to other people's bodies if this isn't staged in terms of actors. Because they do have actors in the healthcare system. I seen that with Uncle John, and I sure in the hell seen it with ShaMay. They have their little band of Lucy's that fly through the halls doing their master's bidding. Okay? And they have no problem doting over dead bodies and have taxpayers pay for that. And that's why I do these videos. So, I don't know where I'm going to put this video, because now that I'm back on this subject, right, YouTube would probably take it as an opportunity to delete my channel. So I'm going to have to put this up on BitChute. Because you can see, here's where the head rests, right? They've got them like this, and that's what they do. Right? Apparently, this individual is under the blanket, because you can see the body going this way. But what the hell is this? What is this? What's the matter with the skin? Right? Bring the camera right up. What's the matter with the skin? There's something wrong with it. Okay? Is that neck completely snapped? It looks like that to me, people. This looks like his mouth. Or her mouth. I don't know if this is a man or a woman. But obviously elderly because we've got the gray hair. Right? Right up in here. You can see. Is this the eye caving in this way now because the head is twisted? Is this the tube that's feeding the so-called oxygen into the patient? And how is it getting, like, going around and down and then into the body? Like, how does this work? Am I missing something? Is this an eye? What happened? Did they get a black eye? Is that what happened there, people? Like, seriously. Right? So, you know. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm in the greenhouse, right? I'm working in the front right now, doing all that painting. Hold on a minute. Okay, that was just the phone. So anyway, I just gotta give these guys some water. Those are trees, right? It's been so dry and I haven't been out here. So I have to start planting seeds. As if I need more work, right, people? Look at that. That's dinner. You can eat that. That's kale. Kale flowers. Why not? See? I come in with the dust and the plants. I pick off a piece of kale. I bring it to my mouth and itchy throat. Anyway. I think this little walnut tree is just fine. Today I'm going to give it some water, and that's the one I'm going to dig up for Lucy. So anyway, black walnut trees, English walnut trees, they really don't like to be in a planter pot. They'll live, but they don't like it. Right? And they're a very hardy tree. They grow fast when they get into the ground. Look at the warrior tree. It's starting to develop bark, people. We got bark now, people. This is not a seedling anymore. It's actually getting bark. Branches. Can you see this? Look at this, how thick this is. And it's sturdy. You could swing on this. Look at this. It's a good thing my son's a tree cutter, eh? Look at this. Oh, these are so sturdy. It's like it's gonna be like a canopy. Look at it. Look. Oh my. Oh, I love this tree. Look. It'll be a sad day when it has to be cut down, though. But look how. Oh, I don't know. Where is it? Look. Wait till the leaves come. Okay. This right here, that's horse chestnut. Here's another one coming in. Do you see? Where am I? Here I am. It's horse chestnut. Horse chestnut. This, I don't know, something I bought a long time ago, or I found it in some field, and I rescued it from a front because it wasn't really growing, but it likes it there. Alright, so we'll see what happens to that. I think it blooms some sort of a lilac or something, right? Then we've got a weeping willow. Right? Isn't that pretty? Look at that weeping willow. Right? And then over here, I mean, I've got other little ones too. They're coming in. And then we've got the black walnut coming in right there. That's black walnut. Alright. Not the oak yet. It will though. And there's who? Mickey. Mickey. Mickey the gardener cat. Okay, so I think I'm going to end this video. Alright? I was just going to put it on my main channel, people. Right? Just... However, I have to put something up on BitChute after I do a little more work on it in terms of what I think I'm seeing on news reporting from Ontario. Okay, let's just put it that way. So, that's separate. I would personally like to just include it with this video just to kind of get people thinking about it, but I can't risk it right now, people, because it has to do with hospitals, people hooked up to machines. And we wouldn't want to be spreading misinformation, right? Okay, so, in the meantime, I've been using, as you can see in this video with me out in the front, right, the stain that I made several years ago that sat in a glass jar for a long time. And for whatever reason, it got really rich. So I don't know if I made it rich or if aging like fine wine or vanilla extract made a difference, because it's amazing, people. It's amazing, okay? Like, I am so pleased that I can even do this. So, now, I don't remember particularly what year or when this walnut powder came from, okay? I don't know if it was last year, which I didn't have, or the year before. I didn't have black walnut husks because the tree got cut down. I was only able to kind of collect English walnut, but there was a tree Andre and I did come across that was a hybrid between an English walnut and a black walnut, which I didn't know that they can do that, but they do. They produce their own offspring if two of them come together. So, I mean, this one here could be as old as, oh God, 7 years ago, when those trees were really dropping black walnuts and English walnuts, those big ones, right? I know that this says, but see, the thing is, this lid here, it says, if you notice, walnut leaf powder. It's completely different color, but it's going to leach. So I'm going to cook up a small pot of this, right? I want more of this. So I'm going to start by heating it up. I can't cook it inside, people. Let me just put this on myself for a second. Okay? Because for years and years and years and years, Andre and I, you know, I mean, eventually it will end up in my playlist. But we collected a lot of walnuts. I processed a lot of walnuts, people, over the years. I still have walnuts in my freezer, vacuum sealed, that are like delicious. Okay? I just don't get a chance to cook as much as I like to in this kitchen because it's kind of small. But besides that point, I processed. I have video where I literally burnt my hand and went to the hospital. I burnt it so bad. Husking. I grinded, I dried, I dehydrated, I dried in the sun. I grinded them up into fine powder. I have a lot of this that I want to put together for Andre's walnut art. But you can actually make walnut stain with this, people, and it's beautiful. It works really good. I don't know what the ratio is in terms of, does it like ferment over a period of years where it just gets richer and richer and richer? You see, that's the thing though about black walnut. I don't know so much about English walnut, right? Because they're different husks, right? Husks on the outside, right? I think they're called husks. I'm tired. Black walnut ink, on paper, the right kind of paper, will last over 1,000 years, people. It won't fade. If anything, actually, it does get darker. Now that I remember, Leonardo da Vinci has art and whatever in black walnut ink, okay? Which came from the black walnut husk on the outside. So it makes sense. It's just going to get better and better. But, you know, I mean, once it gets onto some wood and the elements in the rain, and if, you know, if it's not protected, it will wash away over a period of time. But for the most part, it holds its stain, people. Because I did some back in the day when I was making that hen house area for Andre, when I got Andre back in 2014, right? And I was using that. And you go in there and you see, it's still looking the same color. All it needs is a touch-up. So anyway, long story short, I am making some more. I need another 2 quarts anyway. So to start, I'm going to use about a half a cup. I'm already spilling it on my counter. When I used to grind this stuff, oh, and it burns, right? Because it's a natural acid, right? You can use it as a disinfectant if you wanted to. Scrub your face and make your face feel like and look like a baby. All right? That's what it does. It takes off the surface skin and it makes everything so soft. So soft. But if you use too much, you will literally burn yourself to the point where you'll think your finger fell off. Or it could fall off. Right? Because it can burn. And when I was husking thousands of them, that's what was happening because it was eating through the gloves, right? And then I'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning husking. And I'm like, oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. It busted through the glove and it's wet in there. And oh, I've only got this much left. And I'll just, you know, by the time I pulled off the glove, it was too late. So anyway, this is pretty powerful stuff, okay? This stuff is like magical, really. So I'm putting a half a cup to a pot of water. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat it up. I'm going to bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to turn it down. And I'm just going to put a lid on it and let it sit all night. And then tomorrow, because, you know, I'm outside every day now, right? Even though I don't want to be, I'm out there. But I need to get out in the back and start gathering up stuff to, you know, start some seeds, right? Because otherwise I'll have nothing growing in my yard. And I don't want to buy already. I want my own. So I have to get out there. But so being that I'll be out and about in the back, more than likely, right? Because I have to gather up a few things still for the front. And I'll show you. I did my second coat of paint on those fence posting. I'll show you at the end of this video. And I'll bring out, because you don't want this simmering in your house, because, you know, as the water goes, the condensation, right? You know, you simmering it down, right? You have to simmer it down, right? To really cook the powder, right? You don't really want it, that condensation going through your house because, you know, washing, right? So the more you can do it outside, that's what I'm trying to say, the better. So tomorrow I'm gonna get my hot plate. I have a hot plate specifically for this. I actually have a pot for this, its own pot, right? Because it will stain. But I don't have time to dig it out right now. Right? I'm painting as much as I can. So far, it seems like almost every day. Right? I'll show you. So we're just going to bring it to a boil to start with. I don't know if a half a cup will be enough, but if I boil it down, right, at least an inch, because you want to stretch it, you know, you don't want to waste it, right? But I would think letting it sit for a long time too, though, is a good thing. Now, for something like this, like for Andre's walnut art, I do have, but again, you know, I got paperwork I have to do for these banks. It's printed out, and I'm like, oh, right? And it's bringing down those 12 trust accounts down to 2 right now. I just printed out all the paperwork out 2 days ago, and I have to get everything all filled out, and people signing and making appointments, and just the whole 9 yards, right? But I also have to do this stuff too, though, people. So, anyway, cook that outside. Just bring it to a boil, turn off the stove, put the lid on, let it seep all night long, and then tomorrow take it outside on the element and bring it, you know, just cook it, right, on a medium, low boil, whatever, to bring it down, to bring down the water, to make it richer. And if you have to, you know, you can do another 1/4 cup or a 1/2 cup, and you'd get at least a good quart, maybe a 1.5 quarts, which I'm going to show you why I'm so excited about it. So hold on a minute. So this is what I mean. Okay, those are the boards from my neighbor's Eden one, working really nice for me. Those ones I've already shellacked. This door is stained. Look at how beautiful that is, people. Like, that's amazing. Okay, this came out so nice. Like, so nice. So I'm going to put a shellac on it, right? Same kind of stuff that I'm using for this. I just need to do one more. And that's for my walkway over the pond. This is my own stain. Look at it. It's nice. So yeah. Look at this. You can make ink with this. Right? I want stain, so it's almost coming to a boil. I would say bring it to a boil. You see this condensation? You don't want this going through your house, right? Because, you know, it's black walnut, okay? You're going to get a little something going up with it, right? Trust me. I worked with this stuff for many years, right? I know. Could be why maybe I have a bit of that glaucoma, right? When I used to grind this stuff up. I still grind up the leaves because they fall in my yard now. And I collect the stems. I just haven't done anything with them yet. Right? I don't have time to work on websites. Hold on. And then look how lovely that all worked out. I mean, like, who wouldn't be happy? Seriously. Right? And for someone that does stuff like this, and, you know, be in their bloody glory, man. I mean, look how nice these are. These are nice. I told my neighbor to tell the other neighbor that I really do appreciate them thinking about me. So now it's going over here in this, for those yellow plants that go up by like 6 feet. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a small pot. Never done this before. This is the leaf that I collect in my yard. Oops. Or it was at a different time period with Andre, you know, right, in the good old days. Oops. Okay? Because I've been doing it for a while. I've just never made anything with it yet. Right? I figure you're going to get a different color. We're going to find out what that color is. So I'm going to make about a pint full. Okay? And do the same thing. I'm going to bring it to a boil. You got to watch, because when it starts to boil, it comes bubbly fast. So you got to take it off the stove if it does that real fast, because it will do that, right? Well, the powder will do that. I don't know about this. So I put, what, 2 tablespoons of powder in there? Well, maybe we'll just do a bit more. So we'll just say about 3 tablespoons of powder. Walnut leaf. That's a combination of black and English. Right? Bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to turn off the heat. Put a lid on it. And I'm going to let it simmer. Right? Because I have paint around the yard that I'm using right now that if I want to just change the hue a little bit, I can just add in, well, definitely some of that once it's been boiled down, and it will darken it up, right? Make it into a light brown or something, right? This, I don't know. I won't know. It doesn't, I mean, you can see the leaf. Sorry. Oh yeah, I put a bay leaf in there. It was on my floor, so my son gave me a whole bunch of bay leaves. So anyway, I want to burn them. I just haven't had a chance. You can burn bay leaves. It's good for you, apparently. So, we're not going to know until we cook this, seep it, right? And then cook it outside. Bring it down a little bit, right? If need be, add in another tablespoon just to see what kind of liquid we get. Even if we go a half a pint really concentrated, but it's a different color versus what we've got in this pot, right, which is still bubbling in there. Okay, so we're going to end this on this note. As you see, as this is heating up and the leaves are swelling, it's getting darker. However, it's not as rich as that one. Do you see the difference between the two? This one's lighter, more leafy. Obviously, I'll strain it later. Where this one is looking more like ink. It just needs to be boiled down, right? And after the fact of straining this one, depending on how long I seep this for or cook it for or what, right? I mean, I'm very curious to see what the color is coming in, right? There. Now, it will rise fast, right? This one. See? Do you see how it starts to rise? Best to do it outside. Right. Alright, people. One other thing. I can smell the bay leaf. My nose is running. Serious, man. I can smell the bay leaf. I put 2 bay leaves, because they were just kicking around on my floor, right? Into the pot there with the black walnut husk, and then I put one that I found on the floor in with this, and I can smell it, people. Imagine that. Bay leaf overpowers that.